In this day and age, we are blessed to have countless management tools at our disposal, and very few are as valuable as the game camera. At any given time, I have over 100 cameras out on my property, gathering intel that helps me measure the health of my deer herd. And as they say, what gets measured gets managed.
Look at that buck right there. That's Bobby right there. That's Bobby. Look at that, he's gonna make a scrape in the turnips. Oh my God.
I've seen a few of them do that back home.
There's no lecky branch. Why is Bobby making a scrape right there?
Because he can.
Because he can.
Yeah.
Hunting with me is my good friend TJ Stenger, owner and operator of Reconyx. He started the company in 2002 and has since revolutionized the research, security, and outdoor industry. And yet he still manages to have a good time.
He is just cruising. Like, so that's almost noon.
Yep.
Noon
No.
on the 11th. And look at that, he is just on, I'm giddying up right now. He almost looks like a show horse.
This being the muzzleloader season, mid-December, I haven't pulled my cards since mid-November. And obviously it's all about MRI right now, most recent information. We have to find what these deer are doing now.
Just out of curiosity, have you seen your rut here in Illinois vary significantly year to year?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. All of our does are not being bred during a small window of time.
The peak of the rut offers a unique window in which bucks are distracted by does and more vulnerable to aggressive hunting tactics. But when that window begins to close, their sense of self-preservation returns with a vengeance. And the best thing you can do is to get out of their bedroom and wait for them to come to you.
All these cameras now, they got to go to the food source, right? And I don't know what your thought is, but I typically go in and put multiple cameras on the food source until I figure out how they're coming in and out of the food source.
Exactly the deal. Keep moving your cameras until you find that spot, because one thing's for sure, when you find that spot, you'll know it in a heartbeat.
That's correct.
Because now you're getting deer and triggering on a regular basis. So maybe during the morning we should set up some microfires doing time lapse.
Let's go in early and burn it. Nothing beats beans late season.
I love soybeans.
So I have one camera straight across, you can see there, kind of necks down. But I feel, if you look at some of these trails coming out here, that I'm missing a lot of the deer. The ones that come from the back,
They can easily go around it.
they can go around, so I want to put one on this side.
I'd triangulate with this deal with 3 ultra fires doing time lapse, you know, on aiming around so you can't miss anything.
Maximizing coverage on a large food source has always been a challenge, but by setting 3 cameras to record a short video clip every 5 minutes during the dawn and dusk hours, we can be sure that the majority of the movement in the field is captured. And the best part is, the camera's motion trigger settings stay armed.
We changed this one like the other one to add time lapse, which I think is a good idea because we were looking across that way in this thing, and remember I was telling you the triangle thing, we can at least get a second look this way.
Right.
So I set this one up exactly the same, 5 minutes, last 2 hours, 20-second video.
But it still triggers the 3-shot burst if something walks through 24 hours a day.
You got it.
Perfect.
Yep.
Let's go do another one.
All right.
Here in Illinois, our muzzleloader season is only 3 days long. So if we're going to use the extended range to our advantage, time is of the essence. It looks like the weather should be in our favor, but we will need all the help we can get.
We can't beat the conditions today.
Whew. Yeah, that wind is chilly.
Well, I'm a big fan of rising pressure though.
I think getting out early today is going to be key.
Oh, no question about that. I mean, I know they're sitting tight to the food with the rut being done.
Yeah.
And with as much food that we have, we've got areas with cut cornfields, we got standing beans, I've got turnips, but
We have cut corn? Yes, we're going to cut corn. What conditions can you think of when you don't want to go to cut corn?
If this property has one advantage, it's plenty of food. But on the heels of the rut, we've lost the predictability of early season feeding patterns. The best chance we have of crossing paths with one of our shooters is to locate where high concentrations of does are feeding. We found the does, and we found some bucks, but none of the ones that we're chasing. After every sit and check at the cameras, there's a knot in the pit of my stomach that's growing. Deer that I was sure would show up still haven't surfaced. Something is definitely wrong, and it might be worse than I feared.
hey Dale, you around?
Yeah, Greg. Hi, Greg. Good seeing you. Been doing good.
So how was the farming season?
It was really good. We had good yields and had good weather.
Well, that's good. You got it out pretty quickly this year.
Yeah.
I saw Miss Judy driving up and down the road with
Yeah.
all the corn hoppers, so you had her busy.
Right. Kept her busy.
My neighbors Dale and Judy embody the Midwest spirit in all its glory. They're kind, hard-working farmers who year after year and side by side plant their heart and soul into the ground beneath their feet. For most of us, neighbors are like family. You don't get to pick them. But if you could, they would look a lot like Dale and Judy.
So did you see any deer when you were cutting the fields at all? When you were cutting the corn, did you kick any deer out?
Yeah, you always see quite a few, and in fact, I found a couple of skeletons when I was cutting beans this fall. So I was.
Where did you find them?
One was right in the bean field.
Okay, back behind here?
Yeah, on the other
Okay.
side of the barn. And I just left the bones there and just kind of cut around it. And
Well, I'm not surprised because in August, I found 2 or 3 deer floating in the pond. So I'm wondering if we didn't have that EHD come through again.
Several deer like the drop tine, twin towers, and the one we call splits have been missing for months. And we're beginning to see now it might be worse than we feared. Sure enough, this is splits. And this video from September was the last time we saw them alive. And for every deer we've seen go missing, or carcass we found, I know there are countless others that go undiscovered. But we are working to keep hope alive. Fortunately, some of our oldest bucks that have gone missing, like Rocky, who was 5, and Roman, who was 6, at least made it past Velvet. But escaping EHD is one thing. Making it past all our neighbors is something else entirely.
My inventory of bucks is way down this year. I went into this year probably with the best inventory of deer I've ever had. I mean, over 10 deer that were fully mature on the hit list.
Yeah.
EHD came in, wiped 3 of them out
That you know of.
that I know of.
Yeah.
And then the gun season came and I lost 4 more hit listers. And we still have 2 missing. So we're trying to chase a single buck.
Splits, Twin Towers, the New 11, Crazy Horn, Crown Royal, the Drop Tine, the Big 9, Roman, the Tiny 10, Many Points, Bobby, Double Wide, and Rocky. What were once our hopes and ambitions, now all dead or missing.
So does that change your strategy at all, though, knowing now your crew for next year is already way down?
If it's not 5.5 years old, it gets a ride, right? Because I believe that that's really when they can express their full genetic potential.
There is one A-lister that we know is still alive. Lefty was 4 when I decided to pass him 2 years ago. Like most 4-year-olds, it was a hard decision in the moment. But the growth he made at 5 is exactly why we let him walk. The problem is, Lefty was able to evade us all last season. Because he's moving primarily at night, it's been 2 years since we've seen him in person. If we have any chance of crossing paths with this 6-year-old, we need him to make a mistake and make sure that we're waiting for him when he does. Given the depressing state of our current options, these up-and-comers look even more tempting. Even in hard times, we've got to stick to our management standards.
You know, we could go ahead entirely different expectations about this hunt. But I think the rut's off, I'll be honest with you. Typically this hunt, there's some flurry of rut activity going on. I didn't see any.
Deer were all moving late, and I've seen it on the cameras. They go through these spells, but then, you know, something will change, you know?
Well, the other thing is, there's still deer, like Lefty is still alive. I know 100% that deer's on my farm. Well, that gives me hope to go out.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel disappointed that TJ is going home empty-handed. But as long as Lefty is alive, I have to keep after him. The challenge is hunting him hard without him knowing, because the more I'm in the field, the more I risk making him nocturnal, or worse, pushing him off the property. By hanging more Reconyx, I can increase my odds of patterning Lefty's movements. If he starts moving in daylight, I have to know when and I have to know where. At this point, I'm doing all I can. Now I just have to trust in the process. This is what connecting with big mature whitetails is all about. Hard work, patience, and discipline, mixed in with a little bit of luck. All of our hopes and plans boil down to the decisions made by one deer. We just need him to move in the daylight, and with enough consistency for us to get on him. And that's exactly what he's done. He's made his mistake. Lefty has started feeding in the daylight. Thanks to one new camera placement, we know where and when he's coming in. And it's time to make our move. It's been over 2 years since I last laid eyes on this deer. Even then, when he was 4, I didn't know if I would ever see him again, much less that I would seal the deal at 6. Every young deer we pass is an investment. Even if we rarely reap the rewards of our discipline, I can promise, when it does pay off, the reward far outweighs the sacrifice. And in the end, it always seems to be worth it.